All right, so we're on another episode here of Athlete POV. We're sitting down with Destiny Littleton, guard, South Carolina. We're happy to have you on. We're excited to hear what you have to say. Let's get right into it. What's going on?
Nothing much. Just got back from yoga practice. Just kind of get some downtime today.
Definitely. And you mentioned yoga. Is that like like a ritual sort of thing after practice for you?
We have yoga about like once a week. Just kind of like a time for the team to decompress and stretch and just kind of just forget about everything else that's going on and just relax and focus on our bodies.
Definitely. So now I want to start off with this right here. I want to congratulate your team and you guys from last year's success, SEC Final Four. But what I really want to get at right now is what have you guys done this past off season to really like level up and get to the next level to ultimately finishing, on top?
Yeah, well, not only did we brought in, a good core group of freshmen and a transfer that have changed the landscape of our team, but we also we understand, we fell 1 point short of going to national championship last year. And, we all want to win, and it was devastating last year. So we don't never want to feel like that again. So, we just came in with a different mindset, came in like and approached every single day, with a chip on our shoulder. Like we definitely have to end up in a Final Four again, but making that next step this year and going to the championship and winning it.
Right. And you mentioned how you never want to have the feeling of the loss that you felt in your like system again. Does that like really a motivate? Is that the most motivating factor for your team this year going forward?
I would just say not losing in general is like a big thing with us, but I wouldn't say it's the most motivating for us. I think the most motivating is just be great. Every day we understand the talent we have on our team, and we understand that we're special. We're a special team, and we could do special things this year. So that's more motivating than losing a game.
Hmm.
And obviously, we do have one loss this game with this season, and all of us were just highly upset. And the next day in practice, you could tell that we were focused back up, and we understood that if we didn't play great, if we didn't come with a mindset, knowing that we're great, then anyone can beat us.
Wow, that's a pretty fair point there. And now, actually being ranked number one right now as a team, is that like an expectation for you guys and your coach? How they like how your coaches like portray it on you guys, or is that so much of like just a result of the hard work and all the time you guys put in?
I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, we don't talk about being number one every single day we come into the gym. I think we understand that we're number one. We understand that we have the talent and the grit to be number one. So of course we deserve to be it. By no means. But it's just kind of like a result of our hard work.
Hmm.
Last year we were up and down in the rankings, but this year we've been number one, and it's just kind of a testament to who we are as a program and the standards that we put in when you come into South Carolina basketball.
Absolutely. Now going back a little bit about yourself, you were the California Women's Basketball Player, the Gatorade Player of the Year. Then you went on to Texas. You played a little bit for USA, and now you're ultimately at South Carolina. What was the ultimate decision, and how did you come to a decision for South Carolina, and how has it affected you?
Well, you know, being 2 years, having 2 years in my belt in college, my mindset's changed of what I want and kind of what I needed to elevate my game. South Carolina has been recruiting me since high school. For me, coming out of high school, I didn't want to leave home. And so South Carolina was just too far for me. And it wasn't anything they did wrong or, I didn't like the coaches or anything like that. It was just too far. It's literally on the opposite side of the U.S. And so, coming from Texas, my mindset kind of shifted into, what's going to make me become a better me on and off the court. And that's kind of, I fell in love with South Carolina in that aspect. They're challenging. They challenge me in every way possible,
Hmm.
just to be a stronger person on and off the court. So, um, I think that was really what, you know, headed my decision in, choosing South Carolina.
Was there ever a you don't have to answer this. Was there like a discrepancy from Texas, or did you feel like it was time to like move on into like a different aspect? Maybe
Yeah,
like
I just think Texas wasn't in my best interest as far as leveling my career, opening certain doors for me. I just felt like it wasn't the right place for me at the time. So, you never know until you get into this situation. But
right.
I was able to get myself out of the situation and, still have good ties with, friends that I made at Texas.
Absolutely, completely fair point there. So now, what also was also really interesting, you played for when you were younger on the USA national team, probably versus other other countries. What was that like? And I know not a lot of people get that sort of opportunity.
Yeah, I actually played on two USA teams. My freshman year of high school, I was on, I think it was like U16 or
Hmm.
whatever it is. And then the most recent one, I was 3-on-3 basketball, first ever 3-on-3
Right.
for the women's game. We went to China. I mean, it's just like, it's incredible to represent your country on your chest. When you have the chance to do that, you'll realize that it's way more than basketball. You're not only representing yourself, you're literally representing an entire country. So, and just the fact that they trust you to do that, it just changes your mindset and respect for the game overall. But it's definitely fun and an experience that I wish all the great players have a chance one day, if it's not at the Olympic level, but Junior Olympics is the
Hmm.
same feeling as well. So just winning a gold medal for your country, and just you learn a lot. I mean, you meet a lot of people, you learn about different cultures. It just kind of puts you in an uncomfortable situation, and you just, you strive in it. You're playing basketball. You're playing what the thing that you love to do, in a whole nother country, miles and miles away. And that was the furthest I ever traveled to China, and just seeing it was a culture shock because not only was the food different, but the people there were different. I mean, everything, the driving situation, the housing, the cars, and it was just a culture shock. And I love to learn about new cultures. So I was particularly excited about that aspect of it. Prior to that, I've traveled to like Italy and Mexico, but China was the big one for me. I was like, wow, this is definitely a different country.
Definitely, and in relation to China, when I'm in college right now, and when
Okay.
I was looking at a study abroad program, I told my parents I wanted to go to Shanghai because it was like the business capital of the world. I read from the university I was at until I transferred, but that's a whole different story. But I can relate to you how China can be so like or Thailand, like you said, could be so like a culture shock because I mean I looked at all the different things like videos, things, and like whoa, definitely different, definitely a different atmosphere. But now it was 3-on-3. The most recent one you play on. How is 3-on-3 basketball different from a normal 5-on-5?
Yeah, I actually love 3-on-3 basketball. I think it's like way more fun than 5-on-5. It's just super fast. It's just a lot more one-on-one games. It's a lot. You kind of just have to hold your own. You can't really rely on your help side and other teammates on the floor. But it's just the pace is a lot quicker. It's fun. You never know what to expect on any given possession. The shot clock is at like 15 or 12, so they force you to play out of a normal comfort zone that you're used to being, playing 5-on-5. But it's definitely harder. It's a lot harder though. You get so tired, and
I
it's
bet.
like, okay, I need that sub. I need that sub.
No, that's really cool and really different look at it. But now going back to a more like a more serious note though, after you transferred from Texas and went on to South Carolina, you had to take a year off, right? You couldn't play, and that's when you took the opportunity to get a couple of procedures done on your ankles. Was that the toughest thing you ever went through, and how did you stay sane, and not be on the court for a whole year?
Yeah, basketball wise, that was probably the toughest thing I've ever been through, just because I've never really had a season ending injury where I had to, sit out an entire year of basketball. And I never had surgery on anything to fix anything on my body. So, it was kind of like I didn't really understand what was going to happen to me mentally. But, I didn't really feel that impact until a year later when I started playing basketball again, like how hard it was to find my groove back to, you know, kind of recondition my feet and my body to play basketball again at this level. But I feel like everything happens for a reason, and the NCAA declined my waiver to play, and then I got hurt, so it's like it's always God's timing. And had I would have been cleared to play, I still wouldn't have been able to play because I was injured. So it's kind of like it all
Hmm.
worked out, and
Yeah, I mean, like you said, everything happens for a reason, and I'm sure that's just something that you got a message from someone that said, "Yeah, this is what you got to do." So now, also another really cool thing that we like to do on Athlete POV is I had my team. We went like took a deep dive into your social media and looked on some all different cool things that you do, and we realized on Instagram you have this like this cooking story highlight. So I want to know right now, what's some of the best food that you make, and what's your favorite thing to make?
That's tough. I want to say like I haven't really made a bad dish so far. Um, I mean, I don't really have a favorite food I like to cook, but I like to just cook new things. I like to just see
Mm.
something and I'm like, oh yeah, I want to cook this or I want to try it. But I do cook a lot of chicken just because that's kind of my comfort zone. I do a lot of different things with chicken, and I don't know. I just find cooking like therapeutic. It's just kind of like my time to just relax, and it's not really hard to me, and it's kind of fun just mixing certain things together because I couldn't duplicate one thing that I've made. I don't write anything down. I don't measure anything, and it's kind of like I should probably start writing it down, but it's just I just
Maybe
throw a
just
bunch of
measuring.
ingredients together and just hope for the best. But cooking is definitely fun, and I do want to. I just honestly learned how to cook a steak. I was so happy. I was like, wow, this steak turned out really good. But I think it was the pan. I was missing a cast iron pan, so I finally have it, and so I was able to really
That'll do it.
yeah yeah.
Definitely. So now with food and with like, well, I shouldn't say just food, with like a diet and with training, no one just ends up lucky into your situation right now. Obviously, a lot of time and dedication into doing different things the right way has gone into place. What are some of your training habits, like a non-negotiable for you, and some of like a diet non-negotiable that you have to follow in order to maintain your like your athletic standard that you hold yourself to?
I would just say like as far as the training aspect goes, like extra shots and getting in the gym on my own time is like a must have for me. I don't feel like practice and games do it for me enough. And that's just kind of like my way of making sure I get my personal time in the gym and just making sure I'm working on the things I need to work on by myself. That kind of one-on-one time.
Hmm.
And diet wise, I just make sure I drink a lot of water. And for the most part, I try to eat clean during the season. But some hot Cheeto puffs and fried food comes in every
Hey.
now and then. But it's definitely hard. I would say the diet part is the hardest.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely can't be like a robot and
Right.
not just not consume good food, but obviously some sort of discipline is necessary. But another thing that we saw was somewhat a big following on social media on Instagram, and we recently saw that you posted something about your TikTok and how you're making videos there, right? So now another question to you is like being a creator, like a digital video creator, something that is like either like a goal or passion for you, maybe like currently right now or taking the next step to it after basketball or something like that?
I wouldn't say like as a career per se. I would actually like to make like a cooking type of thing, but I just can't seem to figure out the video part of it. So I'm just like,
Swinging it?
once somebody teach me, then I would definitely. I enjoy cooking, so making those videos and making it fun. I kind of like that, and just kind of being myself. Yeah, I make TikTok videos, but I can't dance. I don't care. It's like they're just goofy videos of me, trying to do the TikTok dances, and I'm not ever trying to be anyone, that I'm not. So, just kind of being yourself is really what I, portray on social media. It's not, this fake version of me. I give the real version of me on every platform.
Absolutely. And I think being 100% authentic and real is one of the best qualities an athlete or really anybody could have. But now, looking at yourself and looking at your future for this year and years to come, what are some of your big goals? What does your future look like in, say, the next 5, 10 years?
Yeah, I definitely want to play professionally. Whether it's in the WNBA or overseas, that's definitely been a goal of mine. And I feel like for me personally, I'm in a good position where, I can make that happen for myself. The WNBA is hard to get to, and I understand that. So, if I just go overseas, it's not like it's a failure or anything like that. Overseas is great professional basketball as well. So, that's definitely my short term goal for sure. And then, when the ball stops bouncing, just being a doctor, that's always been my passion since I was a little girl. And, I had some times where I was like, I don't know if being a doctor is for me, but it definitely is. And, I'm excited when that time of my life comes, to grind another 10 years of school out and, just kind of be that person that, people could look up to.
I feel like when an athlete specifically have goals like after their sport is or their career is over, I find it sometimes that it's easier for them to do because you have your athletic career that you work so hard to get to the point where you're at and the points in the future you'll get to. I feel like when you put your mind to something, I feel that's just another thing that you'll be able to accomplish. So, hey, I mean, doctor, go get him.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Wow, yeah. So the last thing I want to ask you, and something we always ask every single one of our guests thus far, we'd like to hit on athletes' mental health a lot on this podcast because I feel like it's underrepresented into like the general media. So my question to you now is, if you have any advice to any athletes out there, maybe going through a hard time or struggling with their mental health, what would you say to them? And yeah, just any advice you might have.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I would just say, like, don't try to deny it. You know, us athletes were built to, be strong and to overcome any adversity that faces us. And, we're just, if something hits us, we're just like, nope, we're good, we got it, we can handle this ourselves. But, there's sometimes, especially when things aren't going your way or, we just feel like I have no motivation. Like get help or at least express like how you're feeling to someone else. So that way, you're not alone and, you know, other people around you understand kind of like what's going on. I feel like that's the worst thing to do is just kind of say, oh, I'm not depressed. It's actually just something else. Or maybe I'm fine. I'm good. When in reality, like you're not,
Hmm.
you're struggling through something and it's okay. It's really okay. Like people, especially athletes, like we're put in stressful situations that, not every time we could just handle it ourselves. So that's the biggest thing I would say is just seek help or, just find someone you could trust to just have a conversation and just have an ear, for them to listen to what you're going through.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said that better. And coming from yourself to say that and say how not everything is just like about how you currently feel and how you get help and reach out to someone, and that's really the main idea that I'm getting at right there. So thank you for saying that.
Hmm. Of course.
Yeah. So you have anything to add? Anything we haven't mentioned before?
No, I mean you did a pretty good job just hitting on all aspects of being an athlete. So
Thank you.
it's pretty
Thank you.
good.
All right. We want to thank Destiny for coming on another episode of Athlete POV. We're excited to see what she does this next season for South Carolina, and we want to see you win a championship.
Thank you, thank you.
Of course.